Hi and welcome back to another video. In today's episode, I'm happy to have you back because today we are going to have an amazing conversation. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, if you've never seen this face, my name is Nelly Akungu. I'm a HR professional, and on this channel, I talk to people or I have conversations around career, job search strategies, and my aim or my vision is to help you build a rewarding and fulfilling career. And from time to time, I bring on board guests in this channel to have conversations conversations pertaining to workplace issues that shift and change how people do things in the workplace. So if you're here, you're definitely in the right place. So today we are going to have an amazing conversation just on how you can prepare for a second level interview. I am doing this video because in the beginning of this week, I shared a post on my social media platforms and I asked my audience just to share with me some of the questions, some of the burning career questions that they wanted me to answer in my next videos. And this question was one of the questions that came up, and somebody asked me how they can prepare for an interview that comes after their engagement with the recruiters. And of course, that is the second level interview, especially if what they meant, how I interpreted their question, is that if they've gone through a first level interview, maybe with a recruiter, or if they've gone through the first level interview with the HR, then now how do they navigate the next stage of the interview? So that motivated my conversation for today. If you're the one who asked that question, then here I am answering it in this video. So guys, second level interviews are a very important part of the recruitment process. There could be some organizations or some recruitment process that only have one level, but at least I know that most have many levels, from the first level, second, and even up to third. So the conversation is concentrating, or today's conversation, we are concentrating on how to pass the second level interview or the next level interviews after the first interaction, or rather after the first level. So just to kickstart this conversation, I want to emphasize the fact that it is important to prepare well for a second level interview, just the same way you prepared for the first level. And I say this because it is very common to find that most candidates who have proceeded or who go beyond the first level interview tend to relax at the subsequent levels of the interviews. And I think this relaxation, or rather this comfort that comes at the subsequent levels of the interviews, is as a result of, if you've come from the first level, then you begin to feel that now you're much closer. And the closer you are, the more effort that you need to put, like just maybe somebody who is in labor, when it gets to the point that they want to deliver is when they push more. So the closer you are is the time that you need to put much more effort. So I want to emphasize the fact that it is quite important that you prepare well for a second level interview the same way you would prepare for a first level interview. So then what do you need to do in preparation? Because I know if you've watched my previous videos on how to prepare for an interview or how to pass an interview, I have emphasized this topic, or rather this point of preparation. And I know you'll be wondering, then what else, or how else do I need to prepare for a second level interview that is much different for a first level interview? So let's get just bit by bit as we digest on how do you need to prepare. How is the preparation for the second level any different from the first level, and what areas then do you need to concentrate on? So in preparation for the second level interview, it may not be as different as much, it may not has much different as the preparation you did in your first level, but of course it has, because in the second level I advise that you concentrate more on the nitty-gritties of the job description that you actually left out in the first level. And a second level interview is an interesting conversation because you are at a point that you have learned more about the company, you have learned more about this recruitment process. So even when you get to the interview, you're more or less going there from an informed point of view, rather than when you went to the first level when you didn't know much about the organization. In the second level, I assumed that in your previous conversation, you had interacted with the first panel, you had a chance to ask them questions that you're not sure of about the company, about the job. So there's an increased level of awareness when it comes to the job. There's an increased level of awareness when it comes to the company, and you are at the level where you're expected to have much more mature and strategic conversations. So of course, that leads to my next point, that at the second level, you need to be prepared to have more strategic conversations. And here is why you need to have more strategic conversations. At the second level, there are higher chances that you meet a more advanced panel. And if I say advanced, what I mean is that at the second level is where you're going to meet maybe the HODs, that is the head of departments. You are going to meet the hiring manager, especially if you're being recruited, or if the company was using an agency. So I know at the first level, maybe you met the recruiter and the agency representatives. So the second level is more advanced because you are meeting an advanced panel. And as I said, as I've already mentioned, you could be meeting the HODs, you could be meeting the hiring manager. And in addition, at the second level, you're likely, depending on the level of the role that you're being interviewed for, you're likely meeting the executive teams, you're likely meeting maybe the board of directors, depending on the size of the company and the type of role that you're interviewing for. And you're meeting people who are advanced, and these people will not be looking for things that are operational. They will not be assessing you on the more operational aspect of the job. So that's why in the second level, you need to be more strategic when answering your questions. So I know you're asking, then how do I become strategic? What does it even mean? So at this level, you need to display more of your softer skills. Of course, I am not disputing the technical aspect of it, and we're just getting there as well. So you need to display more of your leadership abilities, especially if you're being recruited for a leadership role. You need to display more of your traits. You need to display more of your ability to blend and work well with the current team, because here you have the hiring manager, and the hiring manager know the type of person they're looking for in terms of personality, skill set, traits, and somebody who will fit within the team. So you also need to display more of your culture fit. So this means you ought to have researched about the culture of the company, understood about the business, so you're able to display more of the culture that augurs well, or the values that align with the company's values, which are almost always on the company's websites. So that's how you need to focus more on becoming more strategic and not operational, because you're meeting an advanced panel, and the assessment may not necessarily be the same as the assessment of the first level in terms of the priorities of what they're looking for in a person. So at this level, and I think just to combine it with the previous point, I would say that in this level also you need to be more technical. You need to prepare around questions that display your ability for the job. And here is the reason. Because I said in this level, you're meeting the hiring manager, and the hiring manager wants somebody who will help them to deliver on the job. So the hiring manager, if the hiring manager is in this panel, they're focusing more on your technical ability. So at the second level of the interview, you need to just, again, go back to the job description. Look for what are the technical skills that the job requires. So if the job requires, for instance, somebody who has experience using a particular type of a system that needs that will require a technical capability, if the job description requires somebody who can perform a certain tasks, then you need to be answering your questions. And I'm not saying, guys, if you followed my content, I am big on authenticity when it comes to answering interview questions. I am not saying you memorize I am not saying you pick the things that are in the job description that you have not done. That is not being genuine. I am saying that you look for the skills that are in that job description that are a priority to the job. For instance, if it is a technical job and the job wants somebody maybe who has used a specific application, you understand maybe a different type of language like the C++, you are well versed with Java and all that. So if if that is an area that you have expertise, then you want to concentrate and you want to focus your answers around those specific skills and technical skills that the job requires. So you need to show them that you're technically fit for the job. All right, and just to link what I've said with another important point, it is very important that as you prepare for the second level, you need to maintain consistency. And consistency in that, if sometimes you will find that questions may repeat, because in the event that you're meeting a completely different panel, they will ask you like, tell us about yourself, talk to us about yourself, because they probably were not in the other interview. So they may ask you this question over again, tell us about yourself, walk us through your resume. So you need to be consistent. And that in that essence, consistency means that you should not answer differently the same questions. You should not give different answers to same questions. So if you spoke about yourself in the first level, which I believe the higher chances that you did, you should not talk differently. You should not speak of things that maybe you do not have, because sometimes you can find that you are meeting, there is somebody who was in the first panel who is in this second level, and they can be able to tell, because again, sometimes before the second level panel sees you, they probably maybe went through the notes of the first level panel. So you need to be consistent in your answer. Being consistent in your answers shows that you are genuine and shows that you really know what you're talking about. So observe consistency, because I think also that's a big area where most people struggle, that you want to be different. And just a disclaimer in this part, if there's a question that you are asked in the first level that you didn't answer well, and you felt that I didn't answer it well, and maybe you went back and researched and now you have a proper answer, in that essence, it is okay to answer properly. Inconsistency means maybe if in the first level you had said that maybe the reason those things that are constant, the reason I left my previous job was because I was looking for opportunities for growth. Then again, you ask, then why did you leave your last job? And now you say, I left my last job because I got another opportunity, or I left my last job because I was working under a toxic manager. So that inconsistency. Or the previous one, you said, I am currently still working. This one, now you begin to say, no, I'm not working, I've already left. That is the inconsistency that I'm talking about. So it's quite important that you become consistent in every answer or rather every response that you're giving to the second level panel. And this now brings me to my next point, which is very, very important. You need to use the first level conversation as a build-up. You need to continue with the conversation, and you need to review that conversation. What do I mean here? I said at the first level, you got to familiarize yourself with the panel. You got to know about them. I know you asked them some questions about the company, maybe about the job, and now you really familiarize yourself with the company and the job. So it tends to be easier. And that's why I began by saying that people forget sometimes and people allow some sort of laxity. Laxity comes in because, I've passed that level, I've gotten to this level, now I am closer. So you need to be in a position where you review, what is it that I didn't do well in the first level interview? Maybe there was a question that you were asked and you didn't answer well. Or maybe there's a question that you were asked and you didn't know. So it is a good time for you to shine now in this level and now build up on that conversation in terms of those questions that you did not answer well. Should they come up? That's why I highly recommend that when you're invited for a second level interview, prepare using the conversations from the first level. So if there's any question that you didn't answer well, just check it out and ensure that by the time you're going to the second level interview, you have adequate, or rather you've researched about it and you're sure your answers are in line with what is required. So build up the conversation, revise those questions that you did not answer well. If there's a question you did not answer completely, please, this is your time to answer it. Just say something like that. In the first interview, the panel asked me about this and I was not able to answer it. So I would like just to give you my answer in this session, and now I found out, or rather this is now how I will answer it. So you build up the conversation. Building up is very, very important because it shows this, it shows like you're interested, you're in the process, you're flowing. So get to a level where you're able to flow with that conversation. So first level is very, very powerful and very important, that if you make it to the second level, it puts you in a better position just to be able to have conversation from a point of knowledge, which is very, very important. And my next point is quite weighty and very important. Now, I find it very weird when, I don't know if it's only me, when a candidate is asked a question in an interview, if you are in the second level. So like maybe the repeat question that I've talked about, like, okay, so tell us about yourself. We were not in the first panel. Tell us about yourself. Walk us through your CV. Then you begin by saying, as I had said in the first panel. It's not a bad thing, but it is bad in that we were not in that first panel. So the point I'm trying to drive home here, guys, is that we always get to the second level interview with the mentality that the panelists already know us. Familiarity. That's what I was talking about. There's that familiarity. So while familiarity is good for you to help you prepare, it is not good for you to display that you've become so familiar with the panel. And here is how it looks funny. So when you're asked that question and you say, as I had said in the first panel, so it limits you from fully expressing yourself because you already think they know you. So you're giving half-baked answers. So my advice is, as you answer this question, as you answer any repeat question in the second panel, please answer it as if these people do not know you. Always be willing to start afresh. Always be willing to start afresh. So I'm emphasizing this. Answer that question as if these people have never met you. So if you ask, so tell us about yourself. Please talk about yourself as if nobody knows you in that room. Yeah, so that's really, really important for me because it limits you. Once you said, as I had said in the first panel, you automatically block your mind. I don't want to go deep because they know me anyway. I'm not going deep. I'd already said this about myself. So don't give half-baked. It is your point still. It is your chance still to sell. And if you're a salesperson who's watching this video, it is not a sale until you close the deal, right? Until the customer pays for the service or the product. That is when you say, you clap for yourself and say, I have actually made a sale. So it is not a deal until it is closed. So also just to emphasize that second level interviews are more competitive than first level. And why it is, because you are getting at the finishing line of the race. And that is when, if you're a marathon runner, if you're an athlete, you know what I mean, that it is at the end of the race or towards the end of the race that it is much competitive because everyone is running so hard or everyone is trying so hard to finish successful. So I find that's also something which is quite important to note. Just tending to think that, I made it to the first level. Yes, you made it, congratulations. And it means they like you. It means there's something you saw. It means that whatever should kick you out or whatever should make you not successful for after second level interview, it should not be issues around maybe technical fit. It should not be it should be issues that are beyond your control. So yeah, I felt it was quite important to emphasize that bit, that let us not get into these interview rooms or interview sessions with familiarity mindsets. So that brings me to my next point, which is you need to always look for a differentiator. And here, a differentiator is not just a buzzword, because as I said earlier, a second level interview is much more competitive than the first level. It is competitive. Look at it this way. If in the first level you had been interviewed like 9 candidates, now in this second level, or in the third level, or in the final level of the interview, you've only remained 3. And the race tightens as you go along. So these 3 people, and the job is only one. The winner has to be found anyway, and we have to get somebody to hire in this case. So what is it that differentiates you? So your differentiator can be the way you communicate. Your differentiator can be the way you answer questions. You know, there's sometimes when a candidate answers questions that even as a panelist you feel like, hey, this one is just being forced to talk. You know that instance where somebody just answers you what you ask them. Like sort of making an interview. Yes, no, okay, I've seen you have this experience. Yes, I do. You can do the job. Yes, I can. So your differentiator can even just be the way you communicate. How do you communicate? How do you respond to questions? Your level of confidence, your appearance, how are you dressed for the interview? So you look for something that is very unique. That will be your unique identifier. It is very important when it comes to you being set apart, when it comes to standing out. Your differentiator can just be how you approach the interview questions. I have conversations. When I have conversations with candidates, I always talk a lot of being a salesperson, where you sell yourself from a point of, I am coming in to give you a solution. You can approach your answers from a solution provider perspective. So find your differentiator and display it in the interview. And my next point is quite important because of this level, which I said a second level interview is an advanced level. So you also need to portray yourself and sell yourself at an advanced level or in advanced state. And now my next point is, when you're going for the second level interview, please be prepared for more in terms of an advanced assessment. And what I mean here, be prepared for an advanced assessment, is sometimes, or for companies, or for people, or for hiring managers who do assessment like maybe case studies, written tests, psychometric tests, you always find that they are in the second level interview. Or maybe for technical roles, the people who will now give you a laptop and tell you, okay, we are hiring you as a system developer. We are hiring you as this. Now this is the tool. Please develop this system. They always come at the second level. So to help the hiring manager or to help the employer, just know that they've picked the best. So prepare for an advanced level of assessment. So at this level, you can always inquire, because I know most of the time when they're having such type of advanced assessment, like maybe psychometrics or the case studies, they will tell you that this second level will, or even PowerPoint presentation, the second level will involve maybe you coming to present to the directors, you coming to present to the panel. So please, we require you to make a PowerPoint presentation of this, and this. So prepare for that assessment. Please inquire early of what the assessment will look like, what will be required from you, so that you know that you're going for an advanced assessment, and prepare. Because I know this is what kicks, or rather this is what now eliminates many people when it comes to such advanced assessments. When it comes to PowerPoint, when it comes to those psychometric assessment, when it comes to the case studies. So always inquire, what will it entail? What will it be any different from the first conversation? Am I expected to do any written test? Am I expected to put on any presentation? So always inquire what shape or what will be the structure of your second level, and prepare for advanced conversations. And most importantly, guys, I can't fail to mention this in this conversation. Continuously show interest. Be pleasant. Show the panelists it's really not about you just getting hired, but show that you're genuinely interested in this role. Show that you're genuinely interested in the company. And that brings me to my next, which is also my last point. So as you show interest, how then do you do that? You can show interest through the questions that you ask in an interview. And what are the specific questions that now you can ask in a second level interview? My advice is, And just to also emphasize a point that I said earlier, continuously, or rather continue with the conversation from the first level. So I know at this point you have learned more about the organization, so you can give reference to your level 1 conversation. You can ask questions about the things that you learned in the first level. It is not like being generic, but it is also showing your expertise in terms of being able to manage conversations consistently. So you can ask a question like, maybe you can give reference to what you learned, and just say something like, during the first level interview, I learned that this role is a replacement. I'm just giving an example, especially if you're asked that question and you're told so. I learned that this role is a replacement. I would like to know maybe why did that other person leave, or how long did the person stay? How long did the person stay in that job before leaving? And maybe I would like to know that how long, what is the average tenure of the people who have been in this job for the last 5 years? You're in a very high level setup, so you need to be engaging so maturely and so confidently. So I would like to know how long, what is the average tenure of the people who've been in this job for the last 5 years? You see how I've been able to link those conversations. So another example will look like, I'm just giving you the type of questions that you can ask. From the first level conversation, one of the panelists mentioned that your work culture is remote, or maybe one of the panelists mentioned that you have a hybrid work model. I would like to get more insights into this model. How does it work? How are the schedules? How many days do I come to the office? How many days do I work from home? Is network provided when I'm working from home? Do you provide me with the tools that are necessary? Maybe if you're in a call center, for instance, will I be having the necessary tools where to work remotely? So you can build that conversation, and it reveals more interest when you can build up your questions and you can build up a conversation from the first level into the second level. So I felt it was important to have this conversation, and whoever asked this question, I hope you have been answered. And in case there's any other thing that you'd like to know, please feel free to reach out to me on my social media handles, which I always link in the video or description, or send me an email directly. I leave my email as well in the video description, or just comment in this video. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and your support is highly appreciated. And I hope that as you support this work, as you support what I do, maybe by subscribing, sharing this content, liking, commenting, you are also actually learning, because I shall have failed my job if this content shall have not impacted you and helped you to build a rewarding and fulfilling careers. So thank you so much for watching. If you have not subscribed, this is a good time for you to just hit the subscribe button, because we are geared for more. We are heading towards having more conversation each and every day. And if there's any other topic that you want me to talk about, please share in the comment section. If there's any person that you'll want me to feature in the show where we have the workplace conversations, please feel free to just tag them, or rather feel free to give me suggestions in the comment section. Thank you so much. Until next time, bye bye.